All right, this is being recorded, so as people join, it shouldn't disrupt anything. But just a few logistical things before we dive into introductions and the goals for today. One, this webinar is being recorded and you will receive a copy. If you signed up for this or if you joined it, you will be getting the recorded copy as well as follow-up from us to see if there's further interest. You are welcome and we encourage you to ask questions throughout the webinar. There's a Q&A function at the bottom of the screen of your Zoom. We have moderators who will be answering questions live. Later in the presentation, we will be getting into a live platform demo. And if you would like to see any of the features in more in depth, please put it in the Q&A. And at the end, if we have plenty of time, we can return to it. Or again, I will be following up with you on how you can learn more. With that, you need to know who I am. So I am Britt. I'm a senior enterprise account executive here at MaintainX, and I own the relationship for the Röchling account, along with all of my colleagues here. A little bit of background on myself. I do come from a multi-generational family of mechanics at a large factory in my hometown, and I'm very passionate about bridging the gaps between our labor workforce and inspiring the next generation into manufacturing because I think it's fascinating and really cool, if I'm being honest. Hopefully, as we go through the demo, you'll see more about our product and why I felt so inspired to come here. Jamie, who you see on the screen, is the customer success manager for Röchling as well. He monitors adoption, platform usage, and success over time, and educates Röchling employees on any new features that come out that could benefit their business. He won't be able to join us today, but I did want to call him out since you might work with him in the future, hopefully. And with that, Ozella, I will turn it over to you to do your introduction.
Thanks, Britt. Hi, everyone. My name is Ozella Bowman. I'm one of our senior sales engineers here at MaintainX. A little of my background is almost 10 years in SaaS solutions across enterprise verticals for users like you needing to improve their operational efficiency, leveraging enterprise solutions.
Thank you. All right, now I'd like to focus on everyone here and learn more about why you're here. So this is a great time to use that Q&A function and ask your questions there or things that you're hoping to learn during this presentation. Just to give you a little bit of layout of how we will be structuring this call. Of course, we've already done introductions. We would love to show you a little bit more about what we know about Röchling and your business and how we can help or how we've helped the business already. Oh, I didn't switch screens, did I? There we go. That makes more sense. And then a little bit more about who we are, so you know why we're engaged in conversations. And then I will be turning it over to Ozella here, and she will be leading us through a robust platform demonstration. Again, as we're going through the platform, if you have questions on form or function, put them in the Q&A, and hopefully we will have more time at the end to answer those questions or go more depth. But I will be following up personally so you can connect with me, schedule time, and learn more about the relationship. All right, so let's look at just the state of manufacturing in general, right? Production targets are up and they're expected to continue to increase with a 55% expected increase. But that also means that MTTR is up. Just 5 years ago, it was at 49 minutes. Now it's at 81. Things are getting more complex and more intelligent as we bring in really sophisticated robots. We need the technicians to work on them. We need the parts to be there on time so we can keep that production line up. And there's a gap in the workforce. In fact, 36% of techs are over 55 right now and are expected to retire in the next 5 to 10 years, which means there's going to be an even more increasing gap. And like I was saying earlier, I'm really passionate about how do we inspire the next generation to want to get into this field and stay there and not lose all the tribal knowledge of those techs who have been there for years. Now, when it comes to Röchling, you guys are always thinking about pioneering, being one step ahead, right? We want to be one step ahead with our innovations, including a competitive environment. Our aims are even greater efficiency, even more precisely customized products, and even higher customer satisfaction. And that's where we see the opportunity because within diverse organizations that have multiple locations, multiple facilities, it's important to not have disjointed systems, right? You want to have consistent workflows and decrease downtime, making sure that you're not inhibiting your efficiency to deliver that customer satisfaction. And of course, there's going to be a financial impact. If you can't track the progress and the efficiency of all your locations, you don't know where to invest your time and dollars. And that's going to impact things like your financial earning report, right? And productivity improvements. And that's where we see the opportunity with MaintainX is to unify all of your digital systems and standardize things like procedures, decreasing operational breakdowns and bottlenecks, and making sure that you have that visibility into the standardized data that you can actually trust. A little bit of background on us. We are MaintainX, the modern asset management and work order execution platform. And I love to say we were built for the people actually doing the work. My father has been in manufacturing maintenance for 28 years, and it's important for him to feel as empowered using the tool as my cousin who would be coming in at 18, right? We want all of your sites to be using one system, and we want you to be excited about the results that you see with it. And that's why we were excited to bring your team together, because we do have a Röchling site that has been using MaintainX. And because we have streamlined our operations and moved them from less reactive to more preventative maintenance and improved their overall efficiency, they've seen some really great results. They've had a 10% reduction in overall hours and time to complete work orders because they're quickly able to see what they need to get done, what tools they need to get that done, what instructions are needed to get that done, and standardize that across the team so that it's easy to use, meaning more people will use it. And when we centralize all parts of their job, you're getting better data inputs in. And so there's been an increase on-time completion of both reactive and preventative work orders, which is really impactful for the business and something that now, again, you can analyze. Because of them being able to do their job more efficiently, they are capturing those key data points every step of the way. And you can run really robust reports, which we'll get into a little bit later, and make smarter business decisions. Things like tracking labor costs, cost of parts per asset, even vendor analysis and their performance is all centralized at your fingertips. And at the enterprise level, this empowers your team to really zoom out and zoom in on the operations and the financial decisions that need to be made to repair or replace or hire more people and really avoid, again, those efficiency bottlenecks that are being ran into by all of manufacturing right now. And with our customer success team, including Jamie that you saw on the slide earlier, we regularly check in on the performance and the adoption and make sure that you're feeling confident and seeing these results and highlighting it to your leadership team or to corporate on how that performance is going. At MaintainX, we are proud to partner with you and many other organizations, large scale. In fact, we have 9,500 clients globally. We can be translated in over 22 languages, which is empowering. And we are very proud that every day, over 91% of all of our current clients are in the mobile app right now, which means we're proving that ease of use and that adoption. Furthermore, we win a ton of awards on our customer supports. We're the #1 rated CMMS across all platforms for our customer support and our time to go live. We can have each site up and running as little as 3 weeks. And if at the corporate level you want to do a rollout, it can be as little as 3 months across all facilities. And that's, again, where the vision for excellence for Röchling aligns with MaintainX. We really want to meet your operational needs for an enterprise-grade asset management system by bringing everything together in one unified CMMS, not having those disjointed systems, making sure everything is communicating with one another, but also making sure that we're meeting the frontline worker. I often say that the picture we have to paint for corporate is that the end user can't be frustrated when they need to get their work done, or else you're going to miss those really valuable data points. And so by having that cross-site collaboration of what great looks like, by having standardization, SOPs, having audit trails, that is really going to improve the overall connectivity of the organization and hopefully have you be one of our raving fans as well. So after this call, I will send resources on things like our G2 and our Capterra reviews and why all of our clients are saying that because we were able to build a connected maintenance network for them, connect all of their IoT devices and their ERP systems, have better tracking of their parts and inventory, and have better overall asset health analysis, they're moving closer to true predictive maintenance with a partner like MaintainX. And with that, I will be turning it over to Azella. Now, As we go through this demo, I want to again encourage you to use the chat and the Q&A. We will be answering in live time. If you see any features you want to dive deeper into with Ozella and I, please just put it in the Q&A, and we hope to have plenty of time at the end to review that. With that, Ozella, I will pass the mic to you.
All right, thank you, Britt. I want to take a moment here to give a little bit of context for MaintainX and how it's situated within your overall operational ecosystem before we dive into the product here in just a moment. As you can see in the slide before you, MaintainX is really just one piece of the puzzle, and we understand that. And just want to make sure that we can appreciate the position of MaintainX amidst your business intelligence systems, your financial systems, your ERP. And what we'll aim to do is make it easy for users to focus on getting work done where they are in the system where they need to be, and then easily translate that information or hand it off to the adjacent systems, whether it is through automated reporting, exporting, connectors, and or via API. So I'm going to focus on the first speech, which is the reporting element. And we'll go ahead and move into the MaintainX module now so that we can see how we can review information within our system and get the value out from MaintainX. So a number of you, again, may be within your maintenance organization directly or part of adjacent departments that simply care about some of those maintenance operations. You want to be able to understand how the machines are performing, right? How are these critical assets doing? What is their uptime? What does their availability look like? Because these metrics, of course, are going to contribute to that OEE calculation that we're going to be looking for, right? Information about the cost of labor and effort, right? Whether we're talking about time and materials that is going into maintenance of these assets, and how much unplanned downtime we're incurring against our various machines, right? All of this is going to impact the bottom line of our organization here down the line. Within our asset health report, MaintainX is going to serve you up some out-of-the-box visualizations for these metrics, right? We're going to be able to see information about comparisons between our planned and unplanned downtime and how we're performing against our established benchmark goals, right? What are our tolerance levels for unplanned downtime? We're going to have the ability to surface some of the root cause for this unplanned downtime and drill in further to understand exactly which machines are contributing to those metrics. We'll be able to see an accumulation of our downtime over time, as well as our asset availability over time. So all of this information now, again, surfaced right at our fingertips within MaintainX. I'll want to call out that we're viewing this within the context of the last year. So we've got the flexibility to now refine our time frames, as well as the sites that we're applying that information to, right? We can visualize information for a single site or roll that data up from across multiple. Any of the information within MaintainX, whether or not it's provided in a visualization, is accessible through an exportable data table. So all of that information now is also filterable and able to easily be refined, allowing the user to make decisions, right? Your site managers can make decisions about which data points they want to extract, and then easily schedule those exports without the manual or admin labor that's getting incurred to spend that time building reports each week or each month to then share that out with other departments. So now let's take a look at how we're going to collect this information, right? Because all of the reports that we provide are the product of those work order transactions that we're going to complete. So I'll migrate over to the work order module. And there's going to be two different types of work orders primarily, right? We'll have our reactive work and we'll have our recurring or preventative maintenance work, which is indicated with our cycle icon here. There's a world in which I may want to very simply create a work order, right, on the fly for a site visit, for example. And that might be something that we do ad hoc, but regular enough that we want to have a template for it. And so with just a few clicks, I'm able to create a site visit, already established assignee, I know where I'm going, and I can create that work order very easily. All right, so now let's see what it's like to actually execute work in the field, right? Because it may be a site visit, it may be a repair, it may be any other sort of regularly cadenced work that we need to do, but at the end of the day, the user needs to complete it, and they may or may not be at their desk. MaintainX is available via native mobile app. You can see here I have my cell phone up. It's a very lightweight native app, so I can right away see what my priorities and assignments are. I can also see work assigned either directly to myself or to any teams that I belong to. Give me just a moment here. There we go. Work assigned to myself, like the site visit I just created, or any other teams, so that I can see all the work orders that are within my scope of responsibility. I also have the ability to very easily create information, right? We want to be able to easily create, collect, and share information via MaintainX. So, for example, let's say I want to create a procedure. Before I go forth to execute my site visit, I may want to create a procedure for a maintenance protocol, for example. And the value here is going to be that I'm able to collect that information that's within the minds of our more senior or veteran associates or technicians, right? Before Britt retires or before Sarah wins the lottery and leaves the company, I want to make sure I get the information out of her head. We might have work order forms or slips sitting on PDFs or on paper copies, right? And we want to digitize all of this. So there's a number of ways we can approach it. But here, we'll make it easy through the mobile app. So let's say I want to create a daily maintenance. We'll go ahead and call this a maintenance procedure. And it's going to happen daily, and I can select any asset I want it to occur against. And I can take a photo, for example, of one of those PDFs that we were talking about. And I might even go a step further to include some notes, right? Maybe I want to verbalize some information about what I want MaintainX to do with this image. Use the attached image, generate two sections, use a checklist field type for the listed items. And again, the purpose of this would be to demonstrate how easy it is for MaintainX to take visual inputs, images, voice notes, or prompts, and then transform that information. And we are going to ignore my, there we go, ignore my hiccup there, and transform that information into a procedure, which would typically happen, there we go, right away. So we have our checklist generated. Again, right away from the mobile app, very easy to do with just a few clicks. And now that's ready to use, making it easier for me to onboard the next employee, right? I can now very easily share my troubleshooting guide, any tips or tricks right here within the mobile app. So now let's do what we came to do, right? I came to execute a site visit. And I want to be able to see information about where I'm going, right? I want to be able to complete a checklist similar to the one that we just generated, but with a variety of different field options here. MaintainX is going to make it very easy for me to move through any of my protocols that have been established from the corporate level that are required for me to complete a site visit. I may also have conditional logic built in, right, to further guide me through what steps I need to take next so that I'm not overwhelmed at the outset with a long list of checkboxes. I may even want to capture a failure because maybe there's too many hanging wires, right, in my production area. So I can capture an image of any issues, deficiencies, or defects, right? I can annotate those images to indicate for my team, right, or the site manager directly exactly what the problem is. I can leave additional notes. Too many hanging wires. This may require a cable kit. And of course, the ability to capture signature fields. date and time stamp, etc. So I'll just kind of move kind of swiftly through this. Again, the purpose here being that we can very easily guide our users through the steps they need to take so that they know exactly what comes next without any additional confusion or navigation. Now I'm going to go ahead and complete this work order. And because there was a failure, right, I had a residual issue that we discovered while we were on our visit. And again, this could be a site visit, it could be a repair, it could be a regular inspection. I may want to come in and make a simple adjustment, right? I'll go ahead and indicate that this particular issue, right, as we've already identified, is at the production line. So it's in the production area. I'm going to go ahead and indicate that. And the follow-up work order has already been generated. So just a few clicks, I'm able to create a work order, create a procedure, execute a visit, as well as generate follow-up work. And it's easy as that from the mobile view. So now let's see how all of this is materialized back on the web view. In real time, that same site visit that I've just executed is completed with a link to our follow-up corrective action. We can see my whopping 1 minute and 45 seconds of accumulated time that's accrued against my cost tracking. And then I can also see date and time stamps for each of the fields that I've completed. So again, we've got this audit trail and the ability to track our compliance against completing any of those procedures that have been handed down from corporate or any of those regulating authorities that want to ensure that we're tracking each of these completions. Now I can move my way all the way through this work order to see where it's done. We also have, again, that complete history, which lives directly on the work order itself, and a direct link, as I've mentioned, to our corrective action. Now, for this follow-up work order, we've already we've indicated that we need a kit, right? We're going to need a part kit here, our cable kit. So let me go ahead and grab the item that I need. So we're moving forward now to another phase in our work execution. We've discovered an issue, we've reported an issue. Now we want to assign parts to actually complete the necessary work. I'm one click away from drilling into this cable kit to understand how many I have available to me to actually get this work done. I may also want to pull some of these in, any of this spare parts or materials that I'm using to complete work, I can get from another facility or plant. In this case, let's say that I've only got 8 in stock, and for this particular work order, maybe I need 10, right? So I want to go ahead and request more from another site, and I can easily go ahead and commit that request. So now you see I have a pending part request here. And I'll give that just a moment. Maybe a quick refresh. All right. So I had the pending part request, which has already been approved. I can see that that transfer happened today, and a very similar interface is going to occur over at the alternate site, right? They will see their incoming part requests and the same details with whatever information I've provided. And then I'm easily able to confirm that receipt and update my inventory. So this transaction, right, the debit of part inventory from the transfer site and the credit of inventory to my site is now going to be reflected in my parts transactions list, which we've described when we were over in our export data tab for reporting. All right, so now let's continue to move right along because we're able to see how clean the web of data is within MaintainX, right? It's easy for us to navigate from a one work order to the next without getting lost, easily move from our work orders into our parts, our locations, or our assets. From within my parts, I can see what assets are associated with it, right? I know what machines are tied to this particular item or material that I'm going to use. And likewise, directly from the machine, I can see the bill of materials as well as any files or other data points that are associated with it. Right? I can also see information about any service providers, for example, that I might use if there's any outsourced work that I ever incur against this machine. So we can take a moment and drill in further to the machine itself, right? Because we started to look at asset health in our reporting module, but there's also the ability to drill into one machine directly from within that machine's page. So I'm able to come over to my asset control center, for example, and I can see a full year's history on this equipment right here from within a single view. I can see any status changes over time that have contributed to that uptime or downtime for the machine, as we saw reported in our reporting module. I can see the history of those changes and whether it was instigated by a user or through an integration, right? Through some device that has fed data on the updated status of that machine. I can also see information about any meters, right? If I'm capturing measurements against any of my assets or machines within MaintainX, whether we're talking about runtime hours, cycles, vibrations, or temperature that are going to impact the performance of that equipment or potentially trigger faults or the need for any maintenance or follow-up work, I can visualize all of this information right here or drill in further to my meter to understand more about exactly what is happening over a given period of time. So now we're starting to come full circle, right? And I'm going to take us back over to our reporting module. Because again, we can have that micro reporting from directly within our asset, directly within our location, or any of our given parts. But we also have a wealth of reporting available right here from MaintainX's work order reporting view. So this summary view, again, within the context of whatever sites I've selected and the date range that I've applied, as well as a combination of any filters that are available to me, I'm able to now drill further in to a variety of metrics around my completion percentages, my reactive ratios, information about the distribution of work order prioritization. And then, of course, our time and cost metrics, right? This is a very important data point for a number of our clients. When we start talking about how much it costs me to complete maintenance operations, how much I'm investing, whether it's per user, right? Depending on who is actually doing the repair, depending on which vendor I've outsourced to or which site I'm looking at. How much cost am I incurring and how much time are we spending? I can go further and take any of these tables, reports, or data points, and I can add this to a custom dashboard. And when I do that, it's going to save whatever filters or configurations that I've applied so that within my own curated view, I can see the information that I've pulled together so that I can make the decisions that I need to make, whether we're talking about replacement decisions, right, or budget distribution decisions for a given piece of equipment or for a given site or production line. I can now more easily do that, and I'm informed. I don't have to continue to rebuild this report, as I mentioned earlier, and I can even go a step further and again, share this report or pin this report so that it's easily accessible to me going forward. I may have 10, 20, 100 custom reports within MaintainX, but this particular one, I want to be surfaced for me whenever I log in. All right. I will pause there within my demonstration and turn it back over to Britt now that we have kind of come full circle from seeing how MaintainX is situated within our operational ecosystem, how we can create and distribute work orders as well as execute them, and then how easy it is to navigate across the various data modules within MaintainX so that we can make informed analysis and decisions within our respective departments.
Thank you, Ozella. This is a great time for everyone to ask questions. We do have ample time for questions. If you want to see a particular feature or want to dig in a bit more into the analytics, I know we have a variety of people on the call who care about different things. And so we wanted to leave that time and space available to be able to answer those questions in depth for you. I've been posting a few tidbits about our software and how we know that it aligns with operational efficiency. But feel free to come off mute or put it in the chat and we will answer those live for you. Can a technician invite another tech to the repair through the app? For instance, a mechanical tech can ask for a controls tech to investigate the issue.
Absolutely. And actually, as we're answering these questions, I'm going to bring my screen share back up so that you can see how easy it is to either tag other users or invite them in. So let's come right back up here. All right. So let's say, for example, I'm within my mobile app and there's a malfunction here, right? And as you mentioned, we want to be able to adjust the assignees. So I can easily come into the assignment and I can go ahead and select who I want to add in and assign it to them directly, or we can make it a conversation, right? I can come down to my comments and I can tag a user directly. For example, Carmine. Um, I might need you to take a look. Right? I might need you to take a look at this. And I can send that note to Carmine. I could also leave a voice note. Carmine, this one is a bit out of scope for me. Could you please come take a look at this work order? And if it's in purview for you, could you please add yourself and complete it? And so now Carmine can see that I've tagged him. He'll get a notification. He can also listen to my voice note. And if he's not in a position to play the audio, he can apply our AI transcription and read the note, voice to text.
What I will add here is where our clients really see value. And again, going back to a diverse workforce is one, the communication is streamlined in the app. These aren't happening over cell phones. It's not happening over email or worse, post-it notes in your toolbox. This is happening all in the app, and it does create an audit trail. So on the asset, not only can you see the work order history, but you can also see the comment history. You can see every single time that work order was touched and who it was touched by because it creates an automatic timestamp. So as someone leaves the organization, I can still see that work trail and how they were able to fix maybe a reoccurring issue on the asset quickly, which parts they utilized, who they contacted for help. And again, all of this is streamlining your operations, but ensuring that that tribal knowledge is passed down in a really efficient way, which is a big value add for our clients, as is one other thing is our in-app messaging, where that is a unique feature for MaintainX, and you can communicate just within your team. You can communicate just with an individual. You can communicate across teams by creating unique groups, just the way you do in iMessage or on your phone or in any of your social media. So we really wanted to make this intuitive. I always say I didn't teach my dad how to send me a dog meme, and somehow he figured it out. And we wanted to make MaintainX as easy as that. Now, looking at the side here on Ozella's screen, there's many modules that we just didn't dig into for sake of time. Yep. Can historical data from another software program be migrated to MaintainX so tracking can be included prior to the implementation of a new software? Yes, we can. If you feel comfortable, you can put what software your interest or would be migrating the information from, and Ozella can speak to how we manage that. That is all included in our implementation. So again, we're the quickest to go live in under 4 weeks. So 3 weeks is our average time for about 80% of our customers. And it's really a simple process. We do a white glove service. So we do all of it for you and have regular check-ins with you to make sure we're setting you up for success and that the platform is configured both specifically for your site level and then again at that corporate organizational visibility level. I will say that in MaintainX, there are unique permissions for both user groups and individuals. At the enterprise level, you have unlimited amount of permissions that you can set. So the parts team can see something different than the electrical team, can see something different than the maintenance team, and no one can see the reporting except for senior leadership if you would like. So there's a lot of configurable things in there that make it feel like MaintainX was built for you, but also that it was built for Röchling.
And on that note, I think I do want to take an opportunity to talk about corporate procedures a little bit, and then also maybe drill in a little bit more to the parts inventory since we've touched on both of those and we have some time, and that may also spur some additional comments. So while we were on the mobile view, you all saw me create a procedure for our procedure library, and I did that kind of on the fly. You also saw me apply a work order template from the web view. So within our procedure library, we have the ability for you to have enterprise level procedures, which are handed down right from the corporate level to help dictate some of those compliance protocols and help to standardize and streamline across all of Röchling sites how certain processes need to be executed. But there's also the ability for at the site level to have those local procedures that are more specific to the operations that are taking place at that particular plant or facility. So you've got some flexibility there, but the ability to see what, for example, whether we're talking about maybe an enterprise level site visit or compressor inspections, or maybe for particular machines or robots, there's a certain protocol that we might need to follow for union, right, protocols or local regulating body regulations might require that you have a certain lockout tagout process that you follow. So we're able to facilitate that here in MaintainX, as well as allow access, right, to that same AI procedure generation functionality directly from within the web view as well, where the user can input a prompt similar to what I did on the mobile view and also upload a file, right? So while during onboarding, we are going to be doing this lift for you, as you're moving through the process, right? If you discover a form, right, or some old school triplicate in Sarah's desk, right, that needs to now be executed, you can take that image, scan that file, and upload it and allow the procedure generator to read through your text file, PDF, Excel spreadsheet, checklist, and generate that procedure for you. All right. Now, the other area that I wanted to make sure that I touched was also the parts inventory library. Again, because managing our parts and materials is an area of importance. It impacts our bottom line, right? It impacts our budget distribution at each of our sites. So one thing that I'll call out here, right? We talked about the ability to have that site to site transfer, and we can execute that both from web and from mobile as well. But the history is another item that I want to make sure we're pointing to on each of the entities, the ability to see the movement of our assets, whether we're transferring them from one site to the next or from one location within our facility to the next, to be able to see the history of these transactions that are taking place, right? The ins and outs of our parts, whether we're talking about fulfilling POs, we're talking about parts consumption, we're talking about inventory adjustments, as well as consumption against work orders, right? So again, really helping to make sure that we're streamlining our approach. We're making it easy for you to be compliant in the areas that you need to be compliant, and providing an audit trail so that as soon as the question comes up, where did this item go? How much did we spend? Why did we spend it? we can now access that information in MaintainX very easily or extract it and pass it off so that those folks in our AP department, right, or our finance department can make the decisions that they need to make. Okay. Anything else? Are we seeing anything else come up in the chat that I should touch? All right, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to pass it back over to Britt to get ready to close us out. I hope that you all found this demonstration helpful and insightful. There's a lot more to the platform, but we didn't want to overwhelm you and go way too deep too fast. I think this is plenty to show the value of what MaintainX brings to the table, how we've supported your existing sites using us, and how we can support you to continue to improve your efficiency.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rosella. And thank you to all of you for joining us. If you are comfortable with me sharing your name, please let me know. Again, we will be following up with each of you individually. And you, of course, will have the opportunity to schedule more time if you'd like to go more in depth on the platform or any of our functionalities, more in depth on how we're guiding teams towards better predictive maintenance. And then, of course, more information on our partnership that we hope to have even further relationships with Röchling. Thank you, everyone.